family. Okay. I wrote a book, and the book is based on a story that my late mother-in-law told me. And it was about her great grandparents. And it happened during the Civil War. And this is the story. That's all I had to work with. So it is a fictionalized account because I had to kind of connect the dots, so to speak. All I started with was a skeleton of a story. And the story was there are two brothers that lived in Obion County, Tennessee. And one was a merchant, one was a farmer. And they both signed up for the Confederacy and went to fight for the Confederacy. Well, merchant brother gets his arm shot off and gets sent home. Farmer brother gets wounded, captured, and taken to a prison camp in St. Louis. While he's gone, his wife finds on their farm a wounded Yankee officer, and she nurses him back to health. And then when she finds that her husband has been captured, wounded, and taken to St. Louis, the Yankee officer writes her passes to go through Yankee lines, get her husband out of prison camp, and bring him home. So she leaves the farm with an old colored couple who had been former slaves on the farm. And they walk 250 miles to St. Louis, get him out of prison camp, and bring him home. Now, that's the story. Or that's all I got. But it just captivated me from the beginning. Just imagining her taking that on during the middle of the Civil War. Okay. But I had to kind of connect the dots and wonder how this could have all come about. I did deliberately write the book in first person in letters that she writes to her absent husband, because it's her way of still feeling connected to him. And then these letters are stashed in a secret compartment in their old house, which is this house. And they're found years and years later. And that brought the story to the present day. And one of the themes of the book is continuity. And I use the garden as a symbol of continuity. She talks about how the world is topsy-turvy, but she plants her garden and it's just the same as it was before the war. And then even in the present day, when the book starts out, the granddaughter is asking the grandmother, well, you know, are we going to call Jake and have him come turn the garden? And she's like, well, I don't know. I'm supposed to be moving to Memphis and moving in with your mother and all of this. And she had offered the granddaughter and her husband the house that she lived in, which is the Moffett house. And so the daughter, yeah, well, I don't know, maybe, you know, yeah. So the grandmother gets a packet of these letters and wants the granddaughter to read the story. She picked out the appropriate letter. So granddaughter reads the story, and lo and behold, by the end of the book, she's saying, Grandma, you need to go in and call Jake, come turn the garden. You're not moving anywhere. So you're going to live with us. So that's kind of how I had the story go. But as far as continuity, we are connected to the past. Oddly enough, the past keeps repeating itself. There's a big business nowadays, and you know, searching your ancestry and learning stories of those who came before. When I heard this story, I knew I would write it someday because it was just such a captivating story. There's volumes and volumes about generals and battles and all of that. But how many stories like hers have been lost to history? Probably tons. So I did write it. The reason we're still connected to our past is because human nature is human nature. And we've seen the Civil War is probably the most divisive time in our history here in this country. But we've seen throughout history wars, battles, and what happens before it gets to the war stage is that people divide, and it becomes us and them, blue and gray. They kill each other on the battlefield. But when she found the Yankee in the barn, what'd she do? she saved his life. Because one-on-one and face-to-face, it's different. And we have many, many more commonalities than we have differences. And if we can keep that in mind, maybe things wouldn't be so fussy. Because when it's us and them, you generalize. And generalizations don't work for, that's dumbing it down. And that's really beneath us as a people. Oh, they are this and that. They are this and that, So if we could keep that in mind, that would be good. There's a story within the story of this bonnet box right here. This was made by a Southern prisoner of war in the federal prison in Nashville, and was made for a Union guard. And this Union guard was William Noyes Carr, who married a Moffett. So actually the families were connected. He had moved south, he had moved to Nashville from Haverhill, Massachusetts. When war broke out, he swore he would not bear arms against either side because he had married a Southern girl from a prominent family in Nashville. And he didn't want to fight against either side. So he went to the prison as a guard, and he was put over the shoe shop because he was a shoemaker. And at the prison, the prisoners slaughtered the cattle, they tanned the hides, they made the shoes, and I took this to the Tennessee State Museum to get it authenticated. They had a pair of shoes that had been made at the prison during the Civil War. They brought them out, they authenticated the leather. All this decoration is carved cow bone. So the prisoner carved all of this, hand carved all of this, and it's all put together with shoe tags. And on the inside, there's a full-size mirror, and the box is lined with dark blue velvet. So the Union Guard, and yes, I still have the key. This insignia right here is this insignia for the Odd Fellows Lodge. The guard was a member of the Odd Fellows Lodge. And then the rest of this is just from the prisoner's imagination. So again, here is another story of one-on-one, face-to-face. It's different. And I'd like for us to keep that in mind. But like I said, human nature being human nature, it really hasn't changed much over the years from, the Civil War, or even before the Civil War, and World War I and World War II. But there are even stories during those wars of enemies helping each other. So I'd just like to appeal to us when we start thinking us and them to rise above it. That's a quagmire that can take you under. And it's not good for any of us, because we have so much more in common than we have differences. So that's about it, unless anybody has any questions. Okay, in closing, honor Tom Allen. I'm going to read a poem, and it kind of relates to this. We are all connected, but sometimes there's some extra special connections, and we often call those kindred spirits. And I wrote this poem, and Tom asked me after he read it, he really liked this one, his favorite that I had written. He said, did you write that after you met me? I said, no, I wrote that several years before I met you, but I knew you wrote it there. So, anyway, kindred spirits share familiarity one with another as if meant to be, that each find the other on their life's sojourn, as if destined from the time they were born. Where does that bond come into being, knowing when they found it, as if all seeing? Were they known from another place and time? Was it from heaven, some knowledge divine? Or was it a connection born of the brain, a few drops of blood somehow the same? Or maybe two hearts with identical beat, one power source makes the connection complete. And these next two lines are what Tom declared we were. Could it have been a celestial body come from afar, minute specks of dust from the very same star? Or does it come to the two on a mystical breeze of a passing soul from its body that freed? Where the ancient souls found each other again, and each recognized their long lost friend? Questions to add to those of the ages, answers not found in books' written pages, whether by fate or some unknown design, or a single moment when the right stars align. It's a blessing to both when each finds the other and their souls connect one to another. Thank you.